So I've been aware of Trench Crusade for a few months now. It's getting rave reviews, even though it's not out until the summer. And I knew the basic premise of it, which is that in 1099, on the first crusade, they reach Jerusalem. Something happens, and a portal opens, and hell spews out. And from 1099 up until the present day setting of the game, which is 1914, mankind has been at war against the forces of hell. An interesting premise, but far more interesting has been the imagery that has been coming out. And yeah, I've tried resisting it as much as I can. I mean, the game isn't out properly until the summer. It was a Kickstarter project, which has far exceeded the makers' expectations, and there's a lot of excitement for it, and there's a lot of anticipation for it, and the makers are very cool. It's a proxy game, so you can use whatever miniatures you want, and they encourage you to scratch build and convert things. And what's also cool is that it's having a physical release in the summer, but right now there's a free PDF of the rules and the army lists, etc., and they're being constantly updated. And STL files are available to purchase for printing miniatures. Okay, so I've been resisting it, but as you can see from the imagery that I'll be putting alongside this little waffle from me, I just found them too irresistible to resist. And I needed a new project, and was looking around for something new and different to do. And yeah, this system, this game system, sure looks like it's going to offer me that. So yeah, off I go then. This is the first video, and there's going to be an awful lot of them, because since I started this video, I've nabbed me quite a few miniatures. So here we go. This was my first dipping of my toe down into the trenches of Trench Crusade. So I'm still a novice when it comes to 3D printing. I'm a customer rather than a printer. First out of the gate, or at least through my gate and up my garden path, the first to arrive, these four monks. And I like the blending of the mixture of World War I military imagery with something else. And you get four figures, two types, two of each, all right? With a whole variety of very fiddly bits, hands, weapons, and I guess you can just mix and match it, all right? So they were the first to arrive. Second to arrive, because I thought, and I've been proved right, that when I was having a look on eBay, because that's eBay and Etsy is where I've been looking to get these figures, they don't come with bases, all right? So I could just use stock bases, but second thing to arrive were these that I got off of Etsy, which are Trench Crusade bases. I think they're going to fit on there. Yeah, they're going to fit on there. That's fine. So this is the right size I need for this size figure. It's going to be interesting getting bases from different places if the thickness of the base is different. I hope not. I hope they're all staying to a certain thickness. All right. So success. What I haven't taken into account is that the fact that you can print out in different scales, and all the tutorials and all the guides to and everything are roughly this size, 32mm, all right, which is slightly bigger than a Games Workshop figure. So these are very good. It's going to be a good start. for me, get me on the road or get me down into the trenches. Okay, so following on from those two orders, I ordered the heretics, okay, which is a whole set of figures, and they've just come, and it's fantastic because there's some really good figures in there. What I have neglected, or I neglected to see, is choose the scale option. So this is only some of them. All right, there's some of them there. There's an awful lot of figures that you get in that. Here's all the rest, right? And I was rather smitten with some of the creatures you get in there. By the way, all the sprue things that are still on there, the seller has left them on for ease of transporting, and it's down to you to snip them off. All right, and to make up for that, he's included some bonus figures, which is very nice of him. I mean, I've had the odd occasion to snip these off, and there is no real effort, is there? You just get a sharp scalpel and they snip off. But I didn't check on the scale. These are far too small, smaller than I would have wanted, quite considerably smaller than I would have wanted. All right, let me show you. Let's get one of these fellas out. Who looks like he's doing the hokey cokey. All right, like that. All right, there's him. And let's bring in one of the monks. And yeah, they don't match, do they? In the slightest. These are too small. I can't ask the guy for a refund. It's my fault. I should have checked. Here we've got a really striking character, which I was looking forward to doing, the Stigmata nun. But you see her put the nun alongside the monk. Yeah, quite a difference. So, problem. And there was a big war engine in there as well, which is huge. I've seen people painting it, and it really is huge. It ain't huge here. That's one of the legs of it. All right, so I'm going to have to write this off as a loss, unfortunately, which is a real shame. I was looking forward to that. Stinks to high heaven, so I'm going to just put this out in the shed. But just to illustrate it, there's one of the monks again. One of the bonus figures the fella provided was an artillery nun, and that is the artillery nun. Artillery witch, which are these obviously females masked with a whack and great big bomb. She's the right scale to him. All right, so I'm going to keep this one. Got to get all those sprues off. I'm going to keep that one. She whiffs a bit. I'm going to have to clean her up a bit. Dirty girl. Yeah, I'm going to... So this will be my very first project. All right. But I might hold off on releasing this for a while. I think I'm going to wait until I've got more figures before I combine, if they are the right size, combine them and have more than this in my very first Trench Crusade video. Right, so that's primer on all three. So I've got to start applying colours, and this is where the question mark comes up, because these aren't part of Trench Crusade. These are alternative designs that other people have come up with. So therefore, if you look at the rules, the PDF, they're not in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow the lead. These are heretic priests who lead the heretic legion. And those, sorry, I'm being distracted by something going on in the next room. Those are all like dark muted greys and such. So that's what I'm going to do for these two fellas. The artillery witch, though, is a bit of a problem in that this is a radical departure from how she appears in officially and on the official figure. The official figure, can you see her
mask is all full of detail like that. That's what her whole outfit has got. She's got like an Elizabethan ruff and this thing on, and her whole outfit from neck to toe is just material. And it says in the lore about them, artillery witches, they're mute, they never speak. Some people don't know if they're actually human at all. All right. And you don't see any skin. On this one, there's a heck of a lot of skin. So obviously I've got to paint her skin coloured. And what I'm going to do there, I'm going to make her a grey, again, a grey skin tone, almost like an undead skin tone. And for her stockings that she's pulling on and that mask, it's going to have to be black because all the other artillery witches are in a black. So that's what she's doing. And I'm thinking, just to offset the black and the grey of her, the bomb is going to be very rusty. All right. Doesn't make an awful lot of sense, this one, but it was free, so I'm doing it. And also, pulling back a bit, she looks a bit big compared to the priest, so I don't know if she is 32nd scale, but here we go. Let's start off with some greys on top of the greys. So I got these fellas because they were cheap, £10 for 4, and I got them because I wanted to have a tryout with colour schemes and everything, and these are like they're test subjects for colours. So both of these are going to be very muted, as I say. This fella, his robes are the rather appropriate deathcore drab, and this fella has a lighter grey, and it's Army Painter's field grey. All right, and both of them have been washed in Nuln oil. Oh, and that will do for the moment. And then the witch, here is the witch, and she's had 3 thin coats of deepkin flesh, which is like a greyy, yellowy flesh colour. So I'm happy with that. So I'm going to start putting more colours on her, and I've got to decide just what I'm doing with the rest of these 2 fellas. Okay, so starting to break up the greyness now. Decided on a gold chest plate, quite bright at the moment, but I'm going to weather it more. I might put some verdigris on these as well. All right, on this chap, I'm going to paint the hat thing white, because I'm going to use a black contrast paint. Same deal with the gold here, but he's going to have a natty red hat. All right, and what I've done with the witch is I've put on a 50-50 mix of Karasborg Crimson and water, and then I've gone back in with the original flesh tone. I'm not leaving it at that. She's too much like a pin. It's too much of a pin-up pose. I've got to make her look horrible somehow. That's excuse me. That's going to be a little bit of a challenge. And also, you can see here on the base, I've just put on a lid of plastic card just to build it up to more of the height of the other 2. As I say, these figures are tryouts for the main event, and I've just tried out a technique that I've seen people use to see whether it will work. Not really. Basically, I wanted to add a bit of something to the witch's bare skin, and what I've seen people do is they load up a paint onto a brush and then flick it with a cocktail stick, or in this case a paper clip, and you flick it from some distance away, and the idea is it leaves a nice speckly detail. All right, and this is Militarium green with a bit of shyish purple, and as you can see, I've got tiny dots all over here and all over on my palette. But on the girl, it's as you can see, plenty on the base. You can't really aim it, and that's the problem. So I've got some up on her chest, and oh, come on, behave. And there's some on her thighs, right? Tiny little dark dots, and it's all right. It's all right. I'm not going to go any further. I don't want her being the polka dot witch. And the other thing I've done is, as you can see, I'm basing the bomb, because this is going to be very rusty, because she's like just skin and black. I wanted some other colour in there, so we're going to have lots of oranges on that. But the other thing is, I noticed there's a couple of little stubs of the pouring things up near her collar. So I wanted to infer that something's not right. This isn't some, like, you know, good girl art, bit of nose cone artwork from a World War II bomber. I wanted there to be an air of menace about her. So what I've done there is I've just put red all underneath her collar. So it's left to you to decide what's going on up there. All right. So that's that. That's her. And here we go, blocking in the whites, because I'm going to use contrast paints from now on. Up here, this is peculiar. I didn't realise that you've got three heads there. You've got the human one, and I turned it over, and the one on the left, I thought, oh, that's some sort of wolf, but that one certainly isn't. In fact, that looks more mechanical, looking at it with my camera close up now. That looks more like a mechanical head, and that looks more of a skull, but he's still going to be bloody. All right. Yeah, I've dulled down the red hat. I've got to highlight that. I really want that gas mask to be distinctive, so that's going to be quite a light green compared to the rest of all the troops that I'll be painting for this game. And this guy, yeah, I'm going to use a black contrast for his natty hat, and yeah, he's got a gas mask with some sort of, like, you know, lenses in there. So I've got to think about what I'm going to do about that, and just dry brush. I put the white on for his boots and that guy's severed head. All right, so I don't think we're far off the end now. Well, I wanted the gas masks to be distinctive. I think they're too distinctive. I think I've got to rein them back in a little bit. We'll see. We'll see. I put some verdigris and dulled down the bronze, the gold, the copper, the whatever. I want to darken down the chainmail. I've put Nuln Oil on, but it's not enough. I want it darker than that. And yeah, up here, just about to put some red on that. He's not fresh. You can tell this skull is not fresh. I hadn't realised until I started painting it that there's actually a 5-pointed star etched into his forehead. All the metal bits have had that Nuln Oil, and I've washed over these two things as well to darken them right down. Still don't know what the deal is there. I don't know what the deal is here. Is this a tooth or not? And there, you see a lot of touching up to do. I'm going to paint them as if they are teeth, blocked in his book. So that's where I am with him. Same thing again with the gas mask. I don't know, we'll see. Just going to put some crimson in the guy's mouth, and then I'm going to gore him up, and I'm really going to gore this guy's chopper. And then girly here, I put Black Templar contrast paint on for her stockings, and had to put on 2 coats because contrast paint doesn't know what to do when it goes on a flat surface. It tries spreading out. So yeah, it was very blotchy. So I put on 2 coats. I don't know how well you can make out in this light the
the rusty colours are going on. I'm in an RM whether to go more orange or not at the moment. I quite like it as it is. And then, yeah, her mask has got a coat of lead belcher. I'm going to highlight that with Mithril, Army Painter's Mithril, which is nice and shiny. And then this black is going over that. And I know from of old, it can look quite unusual over metallics. So that's what I'm up to. Soon I'm going to reach the point where I stick her on the base and start detailing the base up. Okay, so I did darken down the gas masks. That's a coat of Militarium green over the top, so that's darkened that down nicely. And I've put Black Legion over the gunmetal. I just got to lightly dry brush that, and that's darkened down everything nicely. I've gone for a dried blood effect because I figure that head's been up there for quite a while. All right. And you can see I've just started painting the bases. Not sure if these are artillery shells, bullets or what, but I got to pick out that and the cross and etc. etc. This guy is going to be very bloody. He's in the process of decapitating, so this is going to be a different style of blood. And yeah, she's stuck to the base. This is my usual scatter material. And what I've done around here for a bit of trenching, boarding, they're just wooden coffee stirrers, which I've cut to shape and scored with my scalpel to give it a bit more grain. And what I'm also doing with her is use a product never used before, which is Army Painter Battlefield razor wire. Got a whole roll of it. And what I've done is I just cut a bit out and wrapped it round a tube, slid it off, squished it down with my finger, and that's going to be going pretty much there. So not far off. I just got to finish painting all this, do a bit of tweaking on the two priests, paint that, put it in, and we're done. Okay, with all the gore on and the barbed wire in place, that's them done. Enjoyed this, enjoyed these three proxy figures for the Heretic Legion. I've learnt a few things and I've tried out a few new things. So yeah, this has been a good rehearsal, ready for the main event.